Shalom, Israel. Shalom, shalom. Right, it's Brother Thawam coming at you with these precepts and another cold cut. First and foremost, giving all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name of the Most High, who the world calls God. Yahweh Shai is the name of his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Right, so this is part 2 of the garden and the gardener. Right, so in part 1, we went over how the garden is the nation of Israel. And then you have other gardens, which are other nations, right? But the garden that we're focusing on is the nation of Israel. We also went into how men are perceived as grass, right? Going back to Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 5 on down, going back to 1 Peter 1 and 24, right? Men are perceived as grass. Men are also perceived as trees. Going back to Mark chapter 8 and verse 24. We also brought out Ezekiel 31, right? 3 through 6. So men are looked at as trees. But then we ended off, and I'm going to read this again, in Ezekiel chapter 34. And I'm going to start at verse number 27. It says, "And the tree of the field shall yield her fruit, and the earth shall yield her increase, and they shall be safe in their land." You see that? "And shall know that I am the Lord, when I have broken the bands off their yoke." So, hey, the tree of the field is going to yield her fruit, and then we're going to know, right, that it's the Most High that's doing these things when he breaks the bands of our yokes. So when we're truly freed out of captivity, when we're truly freed out of slavery, right, then not just us, but the nations are going to know, hey, Yahweh, he is the God, right? He is the Most High, right? He is the one that has a power over the heavens and the earth, right? "And delivered them out of the hand of those that serve themselves of them. And they shall no more be a prey to the heathen, neither shall the beast of the land devour them, but they shall dwell safely, and none shall make them afraid." And watch this. "And I will raise up for them a plant of renown." You see that? The Lord is going to raise up a plant of renown. Who is the plant of renown? Right? That's Yahweh Shai. He's going to raise up the plant of renown, "and they shall be no more consumed with hunger in the land, neither bear the shame of the heathen anymore." And so then we're not going to walk in the ways of wickedness and folly and madness. So Yahweh Shai, he is the plant of renown that the Most High is talking about. So now watch this. When you go to John chapter 15 and verse 1, before I get John 15, let me get 2nd Ezra chapter 5. 2nd Ezra chapter 5 and verse number, I'm going to start at 23. It says, "And said, O Lord, that bearest rule of every wood of the earth, and of all the trees thereof, thou hast chosen thee one only vine." So out of all of the different trees that are on the earth, his favorite tree is the vine tree, right? He didn't choose the cedar tree, right? The tall tree. He didn't choose the oak tree. He didn't choose all of these different trees to be his favorite. He created all of them. He created all of them, right? But his favorite is the vine tree, right? So the Lord has his favorites. Now, his favorite tree is the vine tree. But now when we go to John chapter 15 and 1, Yahweh Shai is saying right here, this is red letters, "I am the true vine." You see that? See, Yahweh Shai, he's the chosen one. He's the only begotten. He's the beloved of the Most High. So he is the true vine. It says, "And my Father is the husbandman." You see that? So, okay, you got the garden, which is the nation of Israel. But then you have the true vine, right? The top tier tree, right? The one who's gonna bear the main burden of all of the rest of the plants. That's the true vine. That's Yahweh Shai, right? He says, "And my Father," right, being the Most High Yahweh, he is the husbandman. He's the gardener that tends to this vineyard, that tends to this garden, right? But now watch this. Yahweh Shai He's the true vine and his father is the gardener. Now, if Yahweh Shai is the true vine, where do we fall into play? Right? I want to get this in Romans chapter 11 and verse number 6. It says, Salakia. Romans 11 and 16. You see that? For if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy. You see that? And if the root be holy, so are the branches. So Yahweh Shai is saying he's the true vine. His father's the husbandman. Going back to John chapter 15 and verse number 2, he says, every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away. So if you're in this truth and you're claiming to be an Israelite and you're claiming to be walking in the fear of the Lord, the laws, the commandments, and the faith in Yahweh Shai, but you're not bearing fruit, hey, the Lord is going to take you away, right? The Most High, he's going to remove you out of this truth. He's going to take you, he's going to blow your candlestick out, right? It says, and every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. So the ones that are bringing forth fruit, hey, he's going to purge them. He's going to clean them up. He's going to perfect them. He may have to put them through fire, right? He may have to put them through certain things and elements to strengthen them so that they can be strong enough to continue to bring forth fruit, but then to bring forth more fruit, right? And Lord willing, you know, that's us, right? It says, verse 3, now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. So, hey, the Most High, he chose Yahweh Shai to be the true vine. The vine is his favorite plant, right? And then we are partakers. We are the branches, right, that are coming off of this vine because we, you know, Yahweh Shai is that one body. And we are the members in Hamashiach. We are the members in Yahweh Shai. So us being these members, we have to, you know, try to do our best to be holy as he's holy. I'm going to go back to Romans 11 and 16 again. For if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou, being a wild olive tree, were grafted in among them, and with them partakers of the root and fatness of the olive tree, boast not against the branches, right? But that's going into the circumcision and the uncircumcision, right? The branches being broken off was the uncircumcision, right? The northern kingdom. And the branches that remained were the Jews, right? Who continued to walk in the ordinances, right, of the law, right? But nevertheless, Yahweh Shai, he's that branch, right? The Most High is the husbandman. Now, the Most High is the husbandman. Now, watch this. There's I don't want to say a shift in power, but there's been power given unto the vine, right? In Ezekiel 34, Yahweh Shai is that plant of renown, right? John 15 and 1, he is the true vine. But now, watch this. When we go to Daniel 7, Daniel chapter 7 and verse 13, it says, I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man, right? We're talking about Yahweh Shai, came with the clouds of heaven and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. So you have the angels bringing Yahweh Shai unto Yahweh, right? Yahweh Shai is coming to the throne, right? The angels are bringing him there. In verse number 14, it says, and there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So the kingdom of Yahweh Shai, that power was given unto him from Yahweh, right? The Most High is the husbandman. Yahweh Shai is that true vine. But then the Most High Yahweh being the husbandman, he gave, I'm going to read that part again. He gave dominion, right? He gave, Salakia, he gave him dominion, he gave him glory, and he gave him a kingdom. You see that? So the Most High, gave Yahweh Shai dominion, glory, and a kingdom. So now let's go to Matthew chapter 28. Matthew chapter 28 and verse 18, it says, and Yahweh Shai came and spake unto them, saying, all power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. You see that? So the Most High gave Yahweh Shai this power. The Most High gave Yahweh Shai dominion. He gave him glory. He gave him a kingdom. That's what the Most High Yahweh gave unto Yahweh Shai. Now watch this. The Most High is the husbandman. But then Yahweh Shai has been given dominion and power and authority in this kingdom, right? And this kingdom we know is not established yet on the earth. But watch this. In John chapter 20. John chapter 20. And I'm going to start at verse 14. And when she, right, speaking about Mary, this is after this is right after the resurrection of Yahweh Shai, right? Right after the resurrection. And when she had thus said, she turned herself back and saw Yahweh Shai standing and knew not that it was Yahweh Shai. Watch this. Yahweh Shai saith unto her, woman, why weepest thou? Whom seekest thou? She, supposing him to be the gardener. See, Yahweh Shai just said, hey, all this power and authority has been given unto me, right? Now, he said that in its order. He said that in Matthew 28. This was after this moment right here, right? But this moment, it has already happened. She, supposing him to be the gardener, said unto him, sir, if thou hast borne him hence, tell me where thou hast laid him, and I will take him away. Yahweh Shai saith unto her, Mary. She turned herself and saith unto him, Rabboni, which is to say, master. You see that? So the Most High gave this power and this authority unto Yahweh Shai. He gave it to him. So now that power or that authority of the husbandman has been handed down to Yahweh Shai. So now, what I want 1 Corinthians 3. 1 Corinthians chapter 3. And I'm going to start at verse number 6. It says, I have planted, right? Speaking about Paul, Apollos watered, but the Most High gave the increase, right? So then neither is he that planteth anything, neither he that watereth, but the Most High giveth the increase. See, our people, we are a very heavy agricultural people in the ancient world. So, we, our forefathers and writing these different epistles, right? Writing the different books, we rely heavily on agriculture, right? Gardening, farming, and these different things. And right here, Paul is telling you, look, I planted the seed, right? I spoke to you. I introduced you to the truth, right? Apollos watered. Apollos, he went and he took it a step further, kind of broke certain other things down to you. It says, I'm going to read verse 7 again. So then neither is he that planteth anything, neither he that watereth. So it don't matter about us. We can plant seeds. We can water the seeds. We can give you the knowledge and the information to grow into this truth. It says, but the Most High that giveth the increase. Because you'll have men that'll gain a lot of knowledge. They'll gain a lot of understanding of the scriptures. Hey, but they won't gain favor with the Most High because they're not sincere. They have ulterior motives. They want to be seen of men. Salaki, they want to be seen of women. They want to try to get money. You had men complaining about how, back in like the mid 2000s, with 2011, 2015, around that time frame, and you can sell merchandise all day long, right? And you can come up in this truth, right? In this truth, but you can come up selling these different things. He's like, but now, hey, people ain't buying stuff like that, and yeah, you can't get no money in this truth, and it was just a phase for him because he wasn't sincere in his walk. He did it for filthy lucre's sake. He's doing it for money. He's not in this truth to please the Lord. He's in this truth to please his pockets, right? But the Most High gives the increase. Verse number 8. Now he that planteth and he that watereth are one. And every man shall receive his own reward according to his own labor. So now we're out here laboring, right? We are laboring. But watch this, because we just went into how the power was given unto Yahushua, right? Even Mary saw Yahushua as a gardener. She thought he was just a gardener. But a gardener is the one that's over the garden. He's the one tilling the ground. He's the one watching that plant grow. And if that tear is growing with the wheat, and he can take that tear out. If there's foxes or weasels or whatever type of animal attacking the garden or the vineyard, he's the one that can get them up out of there, right? If there's fruit or branches of a tree that's not bringing forth fruit, he'll cut that branch down, he'll cut that whole tree down, right? So that it can bear fruit, so that his garden can flourish. Because anybody you've seen, if you have a bag of apples or a bag of oranges or fruit in general, when one starts going bad, that mildew and that mold, it spreads to all of them. The longer you leave it there, the more it's going to spread. So you have to take that one out, even the one that's infected, and the rest of them, you can preserve them, right? According to his own labor. Verse number 9, watch this. For we are laborers together with God. See that? So now, you men, you brothers that are on the highways and byways, you brothers that are doing videos and breakdowns and cold cuts, you sisters that are teaching the other sisters, or these sisters that are teaching the children, hey, we are laborers together with God. Ye are God's husbandry, ye are God's building. So hey, we are working, right, with the Most High. Obviously, the Most High is over us, but the Most High gave this power, this dominion, and this kingdom, right, and the glory to Yahushua. Hey, guess what? Yahushua, he has men and people that are under him that also are laboring with him. You see that? He's the top laborer, right? He's the head laborer. He laid the foundation, right? And we're just following in his footsteps. But I'm going to read verse 9 again. For we are laborers together with God. Ye are God's husbandry, ye are God's building. So we are laborers together with the Most High. And you can't take, that's not a thing to take lightly. That's not something that you want to, half-ass or play around with. When you're doing the work of the Lord, you want to do the work of the Lord in sincerity, right? But this is Song of Solomon, chapter 1, and verse number 6. It says, look not upon me because I am black, because the sun have looked upon me, right? And, Song of Solomon is a deep book in itself. But in this particular verse, right, he's saying, look not upon me because I am black, right? Because being black is being afflicted, being in a lower state. It says, because the sun have looked upon me, right? Meaning we've been beaten down and we've been scourged and put in a lower state through the slavery and these different things that have been set up against us. It says, my mother's children were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyards, right? They made me the keeper of the vineyards, but mine own vineyard have I not kept. So, hey, our people are scattered abroad all over the earth. We're keeping everybody else's vineyard up and running, meaning we're keeping everybody else's society, cities, countries, establishments. We're keeping these things for these other nations going. We're in London, keeping it going, right? Putting in these different works at these jobs and these different plantations to keep the society going. We're in these different, you got Northern Kingdom working on these different farms, and they're keeping this place going. He said, but my own vineyard, Salakia, right? But my own vineyard have I not kept. Meaning we're not coming together to raise up our people. We're not gathering together to strengthen our people, because our people are still strung out on drugs. Our people are still calling themselves black and Negroes, right? Calling themselves Hispanics or Indians or Native Americans, right? Our people are still calling themselves after the bywords that the nations gave us. So if you're not even calling yourself an Israelite, how are you supposed to know how to walk like an Israelite? Right? Our people aren't keeping the commandments of the Lord. Our people aren't following the ways of Yahweh Shai. Right? Not the right way. We're still following plantation Christianity. A lot of our people still think Jesus Christ is a so-called white man. Right? They don't know Yahweh Shai looks like them. They don't know Yahweh Shai is a so-called black man. He's coming to save the so-called black Hispanics and Native Americans. Why don't they know that? Because our leadership, the keepers of the vineyard, are not tending to the garden. That's why, going back, I'm going to read this again in Isaiah chapter 5. Isaiah 5 and 2. It says, and he fenced it, talking about this vineyard, and gathered out the stones thereof and planted it with the choicest vine. You see that? Planted it with the choicest vine. He gave us the prophets of old, right? And even now, he has given us Yahweh Shai and built a tower in the midst of it, and also made a winepress therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, right? The fruit. It's supposed to be bringing forth grapes, right? And it brought forth wild grapes. So instead of our people being taught the laws and the commandments of the Lord, our people are being taught how to do wickedness and evil. And then we become skilled and wise in doing wickedness instead of becoming knowledgeable in righteousness. So the vineyards, our leadership, they're lacking. So we read that in Jeremiah 14 and 2. The gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground. He said, look not upon me because I am black, because the sun have looked upon me. We're in affliction, right? And we're keeping the vineyards of the other nations, but my own vineyard have I not kept. So it's time for us to raise up as a people to start keeping our own vineyard, right? Let me get this in. See, I was just thinking about a precept. Oh, Luke, all praise to the Most High. What y'all? Luke chapter 10 and verse 2. Therefore said he unto them, the harvest truly is great, but the laborers are few. There's a lot of Israelites on the earth. There's millions of Israelites on the earth, maybe billions of Israelites on the earth, right? Israelites in the sense of they're born Israelites, but there's few laborers, meaning there are few people that know, acknowledge, and walk as true Israelites. There's few people who accept that they're Israelites and walk in the laws, statutes, and the commandments and keep the faith in Yahweh Shai. The laborers are few. He says, pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest that he would send forth laborers into his harvest. See that? So we are supposed to be laboring in the garden. We're supposed to be laboring in this vineyard and trying to bring forth righteous fruits, right? You see your brother, you see your sister. There could be a tree, there could be a branch, there could be a flower that hasn't bloomed yet, a tree that hasn't brought forth fruit yet. And it's on us to start bringing forth the nutrients, to start planting the seeds and start watering so that they can grow. And then it's on the Most High to give that increase. But it's on us to put forth these things. We don't want to bring forth wild grapes anymore, right? We don't want to teach our women how to twerk anymore, right? We don't want to teach our men how to be soft and walk around with their fingernails painted and wearing purses. We don't want to teach our men or women how to roll and pearl blunts, right? We don't want to teach our people how to get drunk and just black out and act stupid, right? We don't want to teach that to our people. We want to teach our people how to keep the Feast of Dedication. We want to teach our people about the menorah and what it stands for in the law. We want to teach our people who Yahweh Shai is, what his true name is, right? What he really stood for, right? And who he was sent to. We want to teach our people the laws. We want to teach our people the true identity of the Israelites from days of old even to now. We want to teach our people how to get into the kingdom of heaven, who it's for, right? How to get there and what's going to happen even when we get there, so you have a better understanding of what it is you're trying to search forward to, right? So we're trying to bring forth the good grapes, not these wild grapes, right? So we're supposed to be laboring. So we're going to go to Mark chapter 12, all right? And I'm going to read this straight through. I might stop here and there, but I'm going to read the first 10 verses. But I'm going to try to just get straight through it. You know what I mean? Through the Spirit. It's Mark 12:1. It says, and he began to speak unto them by parables. A certain man planted a vineyard. We read in Isaiah 5:1, the Most High planted that vineyard, right? And set an hedge about it, and digged a place for the wine fat, and built a tower. Watch this. And once again, those are the same attributes of the vineyard that we read about in Isaiah, right? And let it out to husbandmen, and went into a far country. So the Most High set up the Israelites, right? And then it says he set up husbandmen, right? Who are these husbandmen, right? In modern day, or not modern day, but in the times of Yahushua, you had scribes, you had the Pharisees, you had the chief priests, you had the elders, right? You had these different men that were set up as leaders over the Jews. These are the husbandmen that's being spoke about, and went into a far country. And at the season, he sent to the husbandman a servant. The prophets are the servants. A servant that he might receive from the husbandman the fruit of the vineyard. See, because these servants, they receive word from the Lord, right? And they can tell the Most High what's going on. The Most High sees it, but for our line's sake, he tells the Most High what's going on, and then the Most High gives him the next step, whether he's going to bring forth a judgment, whether he's going to bring forth mercy, right? That servant, he comes back and he comes to the people, he lets them know what's going on. This is thus saith the Lord. And then what happens? Verse 3, and they caught him and beat him and sent him away empty. A lot of the prophets weren't heard when they went and brought out the words of the Lord, especially by men of the kings, right? Once again, the scribes or the Pharisees. You have recorders. You had different men that were counselors to the kings, and different men that were under the king. And these men rejected the prophets a lot of times. Not every time, but a lot of times. Verse 4, and again he sent unto them another servant, and at him they cast stones and wounded him in the head, and sent him away shamefully handled. And again he sent another, and they killed him, and many others, beating some and killing some. And that's the life of a prophet, of an apostle, right? Of a true disciple of the Lord. Our people are wicked and they don't want to hear the truth. But if you're going to be a man in this vineyard, you have to endure these things, right? Because you are serving the Most High. You're not serving man. So whatever offense that they may take, that's none of your concern. You doing the work of the Lord. And if they get offended by you doing the work of the Lord, so be it. You got to stand on the words of the Lord, right? Obviously, you want to use discretion. You want to use wisdom. But at the end of it all, we standing on thus saith the Lord. That's what we standing on, right? Verse 6, having yet therefore one son, we know that's Yahushua, his well-beloved. He sent him also last unto them, saying, they will reverence my son. But those husbandmen said among themselves, this is the heir. So even in Nicodemus, he was a Pharisee. He knew and understood that Yahushua was the son of the Most High. He knew he was the Messiah, right? He knew he was Hamashiach, right? He says, this is the heir. Come, let us kill him, and the inheritance shall be ours. See, those scribes and Pharisees during the time of Yahushua, they were in seats of power under the Romans. They answered to them, but the Romans kind of gave them certain freedoms to continue to do the sacrifices, to continue to keep the holy days, to continue to do these things. But these men were hypocrites, and they loved their status. They loved their accolades. They loved the attention that they got from the people, right? More than serving the Lord. They didn't want to look bad in the sight of the people. They didn't want to offend Rome or rub Rome the wrong way, right? So they said the inheritance shall be ours. And they thought that that was going to be it. Hey, you kill Yahushua, hey, it's all on us, right? Everything's going to go back to where it was, and we're going to be the men of renown and the men of authority here in Jerusalem, here in Judea, right? It says, and they took him and killed him and cast him out of the vineyard. What shall therefore the Lord of the vineyard do? He will come and destroy the husbandman and give the vineyard unto others. And that's us now, right? He's given the vineyard unto us, and it's on us to walk in the righteous path. It's on us to walk in these laws and these commandments and these statutes, right? And I'm gonna get three more, and then I'm gonna close up through the spirit. Right? Gotta get the camp. Headed to camp. I'm gonna go back to Isaiah chapter 5. Right? I'm gonna read 5 and 2. And then I'm gonna jump down to 7. Isaiah 5 and 2. And he fenced it and gathered out the stones thereof and planted it with the choicest vine and built a tower in the midst of it and also made a winepress therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes. I'm going to jump down to verse 7. It says, for the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel. See, the vineyard of Yahweh is the Israelites, right? And the men of Judah, the house of Israel and the men of Judah, his pleasant plant, right? So that's who the vineyard is. And he looked for judgment. You see that? He looked for judgment, but behold, oppression. See, those scribes and those Pharisees, right? Our kings of old and a lot of our men of old, they were oppressing the people. So it's on us to not oppress the people, but to uplift the people, to teach them the ways of righteousness. It says, for righteousness, he looked for righteousness, but behold, a cry. So, hey, we got to bring forth righteousness. We got to bring forth real quick, the weightier matters of the law. Matthew 23 and 23, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, death unto you. For ye pay tithes of mint and anise and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. Right? These ought ye have to have done, and not to leave the other undone. Right? Salakia. Salakia, go back upstairs. Shalom. Go upstairs. Yep. Reading the Bible. All praise to the Most High. Yep. Go upstairs. Come. Right? So this is right. So those are the weightier matters of the law, right? Judgment, mercy, and faith. And instead of us bringing forth these things to the Lord, our people are bringing forth wickedness and hypocrisy, right? So us as men in these last days, we have to make sure that we're walking uprightly, walking in sincerity, and then teaching our people to do so as well, right? This is a Song of Solomon. Song of Solomon, chapter 4, and verse number 12. It says, a garden enclosed is my sister, my spouse, a spring shut up, a fountain sealed. So, hey, once again, the Israelites, northern kingdom, southern kingdom, with its garden, right? The vineyard. Thy plants are an orchard of pomegranates with pleasant fruits, camphire with spikenard and saffron, calamus and cinnamon, with all trees of frankincense, myrrh and aloes, with all the chief spices. You see that? We those chief spices, bringing forth those smells. A fountain of gardens, a well of living waters, and streams from Lebanon. Awake, O north wind, and come, thou south. Blow upon my garden, that the spices thereof may flow out. Let my beloved come into his garden and eat his pleasant fruits. So when the Most High comes and visits us, right, as a plant, as grass, plant, or tree, hey, you want to be bearing fruit. You want to be bringing forth that sweet smelling savior before the Lord. You don't want to be a plant that's supposed to smell good and it stink. What good is a rose that may be beautiful, but it stink, bringing forth a disgusting scent, right? The Lord not dealing with that. We're supposed to be bringing forth judgment, mercy, faith, righteousness, laws, commandments, Yahweh Shai, keeping the testimonies, looking at reading the accounts, seeing what our forefathers did